Hello everybody, welcome to Totally Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today I'm doing a full solo playthrough of Votes for Women. We'll be playing suffragists in the 1800s, trying to get the 19th Amendment to the U.S Constitution past Congress, and then have it ratified by at least 36 states. If we can do that before the end of the 6th turn of the game, then we'll win. However, if 13 states refuse to ratify, then we'll lose. Now, I went ahead and I got everything set up for a solo game. I've dealt out 9 random state cards, I've shuffled the strategy deck and dealt out 3, and I've replaced the opposition deck, which you would play if you were playing a 2-player competitive game, with the Oppobot. And both for the Oppobot deck as well as our suffragist deck, we have 3 types of cards. We have late cards, middle cards, and early game cards. I've shuffled each of those separately, put the late game on the bottom, the middle, and then the early game. So it's a shuffled deck, but it's layered. And then I have dealt out 6 cards in addition to the one starting card, Seneca Falls Convention. So that's going to be our 7-card starting hand at the beginning of the game. Now, like I always do, I'm going to explain the rules as I play, so let's just go ahead and dive right in. Now, the very first thing we must do is play one of our cards. And I'm going to go ahead and play the Seneca Falls Convention. This is the start card. You'll always start with this in your hand. And as you can see, there's some great historical information at the bottom of every one of these cards. And we'll actually be able to use these cards to do a bunch of different actions, but one of them is just to resolve the effect that's written on the card. And that's what I'm going to do here. And it says that we can add our purple and yellow campaigners into the Northeast region. We'll then receive 2 buttons and add 2 of our influence cubes into New York. So we have 2 different colors of campaigners and cubes, and usually it won't matter which colors we're using, but on some of the cards it does specify a specific color. I have the buttons over here. We have 12 of them. They have 4 different designs, but they're exactly the same. So we can take any 2 that we want. And these are just a type of currency. And then we can place 2 cubes in New York, and that symbol means that they can be any combination of the 2 colors that we want. So let's just go ahead and do 1 of each. And there we go. We've resolved that card, so we can just discard it. And now it's the Oppobot's turn. Now, for the first round of the first turn of the game, they're going to play this card here. They'll always play this one, the Patriarchy. This card here will be played in the 3rd turn, and the other one will be played in the 5th turn. So we can just leave these off to the side for now. And the Patriarchy says, play on turn 1, round 1. Add an opposition campaigner in the South region. Add 1 opposition cube in each state in the Northeast region, the Atlantic and Appalachia region, the South region, and the Midwest region. And there we go. Thanks to the magic of editing, it's all done. This really sets up the monumental task that's ahead of us, just how strong the opposition was here at the beginning of this movement. As you can see here, we have the United States divided up into these 6 different regions. Each region has 8 states in it. So we've put a cube in each of the states in these 4 regions. But if you look at New York, rather than adding a red cube there, because we already had some influence or power, however you want to think of these cubes, rather than adding a red one, we just take away one of the suffragists' cubes. And it was our choice which one. Okay, and there we go. That was the Patriarchy card done. It now comes back to us. We're going to play another one of our cards, and we're going to keep going back and forth until we've had 6 rounds of playing cards. We'll be left with 1 card in our hand, and then that will be the end of the turn. So I think I'm going to play this card, Anna Dickinson. The event would allow us to receive a button and then add 1 cube in 1 state in each of the 6 regions. But instead of playing this card for its event, I'm going to use it to do a campaigning action. You can use any card for this action, so we just discard it. And for every one of our campaigning figures that are on the board, we get to roll one of these blue D4s. Now, they're 12-sided, but they're actually just go 1 through 4. So let's see what we get. Oh! Amazing. We rolled 2 4s. That's incredible. Now we're going to assign a die to each one of our campaigners, and that's how many cubes that they can drop in the region that they're in. Now, before we actually drop those cubes, we can spend a button in order to move a campaigner to a different region, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to spend a button, and I can move them to any other region. How about we move here to the Midwest? Now, if I wanted to, I could spend another button to move our yellow campaigner, but they'll just stay where they are. I also could have used a button to re-roll both dice. But if you spin buttons to re-roll, you must re-roll all the dice that you rolled. You can't just pick and choose. So now we'll assign a cube to each campaigner and drop their colored cubes into that region. And we can spread it out however we want. I want to drop all of these in Ohio. So the first one I drop in is going to remove the opposition cube that's there. So that's 1, and then 2, 3, 4. And then for the Northeast, I want to put 3 cubes in New York, and then just take away a cube in New Jersey. And that's going to be the yellow campaigners 4. Now, if we look over here at these state cards, you can see New York is one of the cards. And anytime you get 4 cubes in a state, you get to take their card. And so we're going to get to keep this New York card, and we can play it either before or after we play another one of our cards later in a round. And that's basically why I went so hard for Ohio too, because they have a card there as well. This is definitely a race because the Optobot, if they get 4 cubes in, they can also take the cards. So there we go. That was a very successful campaigning action. And now for the second round for the Optobot and every future round for this turn, we're just going to flip over the top card of their deck. Now this card says Southern Resentment. Play if 15th Amendment is in effect. Add 1 opposition cube in each of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. Now some cards are going to have prerequisites, and this one has one. It says that you can only play it if the 15th Amendment card is in effect, has already been played, which it hasn't. Now, you can see here in my hand, I do have it, and it has that infinity symbol there, which means that when we play this card, it will stay in effect for the entire game, and we just place it right here. And so certain cards either can or can't be played if this card is in play. Luckily, we haven't played that card yet, so this card cannot be played for its event. Instead, the Optobot will use it to take a campaigning action, just like we just did. So the first thing that they do is they roll this d6 to see what region they're going to move their campaigner to. Okay, and they're heading out west. They then look to see if there is a state card that's available, and there is one. There's Utah. So they're going to target that state. If there wasn't a card, then they would instead roll this d8 to see which state that they are targeting. They're then going to roll the blue d4 just like we did. Okay, and they got 2. So they're going to place 2 cubes out. And that's it. That was their turn. Now back to us. Before or after we play one of our cards, we can play a state card or one of these strategy cards, which we might get later. I'm just going to go ahead and play my New York card, which is going to let us add 6 cubes to the Northeast region, but no more than 2 per state. And we can do any combination of colors here. I do want to put 2 in New Jersey. And then let's remove 2 and add 1 to 2 other regions. Okay, let's now play Sojourner Truth. Actually, before I play that, let's play Susan B. Anthony Indicted. That's going to let us receive a button. And we can add 1 cube to 1 state in each of the 6 regions. Let's just go through them based on their number there. So out west, let's just take 1 cube away. In the plains here, we have this Kansas card. So let's add 1 there. I want to take this away from Texas. We're going to add 1 to Ohio. Let's make it yellow so it's not all purple. I kind of think it's good to have a little bit of a mix of the colors. In the Atlantic, we have Pennsylvania and Virginia. So we'll just take one away from that. And let's add one to New Jersey. And now we have 4 cubes in Ohio, so we can take that card. Excellent. We are done. We have minor v Happerset. Play if there is at least one column in Congress. Remove one column from Congress and add 2 opposition cubes to Missouri. So we haven't talked about this yet, but the way that we get the 19th Amendment past Congress is by adding 6 of these columns here. And we can do that through various card powers and events, but we can also take an action where we discard one of our cards and we roll the d6, and if we roll a 6, then we can place a column there. The states can't start ratifying until we've passed the amendment through Congress. Now here, this card would actually be removing those from the Congress, but there's none there. So again, this isn't playable. So instead, they're going to take a campaign action. So we roll. Going to 4. Midwest. And now there's no cards here from the Midwest, so they're going to pick a random state, number 6. And they're going to drop 3 cubes there. Now, it's important to point out that even if we were to lose our 4 cubes in Ohio, we would not lose the card. Once you have it, you keep it, and you can play it whenever you want. But you can only play at most 1 per round. And honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and play it. It says, draw 2 cards from your draw deck, discard 1, and play the other card for its event immediately. All right, so let's see what we get. Okay, we have Reconstruction, which is only playable if the Civil War is not in effect, which it's not, but the 15th Amendment has to be in effect, which it's not. So we can't play this event. So instead, we'll discard this one and we'll play Lucy Stone. Once again, we get a button. And we can add 1 cube to 1 state in each region. So I think I'm pretty much going to do exactly what I did before. Let's take that one out. 1 in Texas, 1 in Kansas. Let's break that up. We'll put 1 there in Pennsylvania. And then we'll put 1 in New Jersey. That's 4 in New Jersey, so we get this card. And now we can play a card from our hand. In fact, we must. I think I'd now like to play Sojourner Truth. This is going to let us roll a d8, and then we'll get to add that number of cubes to the Midwest region, but at most 1 per state. Oh, we rolled a 7. Awesome. I wanted to wait until I had some more buttons, because if you roll bad, you can always discard a button to re-roll. But we don't need to re-roll that. We get to play 7 cubes. Oh, and actually, because we can only do 1, we're basically just going to be removing a bunch of cubes. So there we go. We'll just do our 7 like that. That works. All right, Old Dixie. Add 1 opposition cube in each of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. Now, I will note that if you're not familiar with these abbreviations for the different states, it is on the back of the rulebook, little abbreviation key there. Even I have to reference this occasionally. Okay, there we go. So the South is not looking good right now. Well, let's go ahead and play New Jersey here. That just gives us 2 more buttons, so that's fantastic. So we now have 5 buttons. That is great. Buttons will have another use here coming up, so it would be good if we could hold on to those. Maybe it's time to play this 15th Amendment. It's only playable if the Civil War is not in effect, which it's not. We place it here because it's going to be in play for the entire game. And it says for us to roll the d6, and on a 3 to 6, we'll get to add 2 columns here to Congress. And then we'll get to add 8 cubes anywhere, but no more than 2 per state. Oh, okay, we rolled a 1. This is what buttons are for. Let's re-roll that. Okay, well. Oh my gosh. Well, say bye-bye to the buttons. There we go. Okay, well, I know where I want my 8 cubes. Let's put 2 in Texas. 2 in Kansas, we'll get this card. 2 in Utah. And yeah, let's put 2 in Pennsylvania. Optobot. Oh, and here we go. Gerrymandering. Remove all yellow cubes from the 2 states with the most yellow cubes. And this is why we were trying to spread them out somewhat evenly. As we can see here, New York is getting hit for sure. And now it looks like we have 2 in New Jersey, 2 here in Kansas. So I'll have New Jersey get hit. Okay, not good. Could just go ahead and play Kansas, I guess. I don't see any reason to hold on to these, so we can add 6 more cubes, no more than 2 per state. All right, I think that works. And now we have this Union victory, but that's only playable if the Civil War is in effect. So I think we'll hold on to that in case the Civil War comes up. And we'll play the Union signal here. I think we'll play it for its event. We'll get another button, which I really want, because we had to spend a bunch of buttons for this 15th Amendment. And again, we can add 1 cube to 1 state for each of the regions. Okay, so we are getting Texas and Pennsylvania, and then we'll just remove that. That's going to be our last play for this turn. Optobot. I don't know why I'm saying Optobot. Opobot. Opobot. That's fun to say. Border states. Add 1 opposition cube in each of Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Missouri. And there we go. That is the end of the first turn. Now, at the end of a turn, you have a little cleanup phase. Any cards that were in this box here, these cards that are just in effect for that turn, would get discarded. Going to advance the marker. We then draw 6 cards to add to the card that was left over from the last round. And now we have a phase that we skipped in the first turn. This is the strategy phase. This is how we acquire one of these strategy cards. So in the solo game, what you do is you put in a certain number of buttons. The Optobot's then going to roll this D4, If they roll higher than the amount of buttons that you put in, then they're going to get to have a card. If it's the same, then no one gets a card. And if your buttons are higher than their roll, then you get a card. Here's the trick. No matter what happens, you lose all your buttons. That's tough because these organizational buttons are very valuable for doing all sorts of things. I think I will go ahead and put 2 in, and we'll see if we get lucky. Okay, and they rolled 2, so we kept them from getting a card, but we don't get a card either. If we did get a card, we just add it to our face-up cards, and we could spend them just like we do these. If the Oppobot gets a card, they always use it right away. They don't hold on to it. They just activate their ability, which is at the bottom of the card right away. Okay, there we go. And now we just get back to playing a card, alternating back and forth. We always get to go first. And what I haven't really talked about is why we're putting these cubes out. Well, once the 19th Amendment passes Congress, and that's when we can get all of these filled, right? Once that happens, we'll remove them, and now ratification will begin. And we need to get 36 states to ratify. The way we do that is by having 4 or more cubes in the state. So as soon as that happens, every state with 4 cubes will get a little check mark. That shows that they are going to ratify. But any state with 4 opposition cubes will get a rejection. And if we get 13 rejections, then we lose. Now, we could fill this up early and continue to sort of influence the different states, but as soon as they hit 4 cubes, the cubes are removed and they immediately either ratify or reject. And then more cubes can't get added to those states at that point. So we want to time this, make sure that we are doing this at a good time. But of course, as we've seen, there are cards that let the Oppobot remove these pillars. So we don't want to wait around for too long. So with all that, let's start by playing this Texas card. Once again, that's just 6 cubes. No more than 2 per state. I just want to remove 2 from Georgia. 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'm going to go ahead and play National Women's Rights Convention. This is playable if the Civil War is not in effect, so I thought let's just go ahead and get that played right away. And I do want this event because it's going to add one of these to the Congress. And we can get a cube in 1 state in each region. Boom, get that card. We're doing great on these states. Let's expand a little bit. Hop into Georgia. This card isn't going to be played until the start of the 3rd turn. So here we just draw the top card like we've been doing. Southern Hospitality. 1 cube in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. Okay, that's annoying. That Atlantic area is looking pretty bad. First, we're going to play Pennsylvania, because this will help us clear this out a little bit. Once again, 6 cubes. 1, 2. We only have 1 button. So actually, let's start by playing Francis Willard. It's going to add a pillar and give us 2 buttons. Okay. We might need those buttons to help us mitigate some dice rolls here. And here it is, the Civil War. So it says play if it is round 1, 2, or 3 of the current turn. Now we can figure that out by looking at how many cards we've played so far. We have 5 cards, so we've only played 2. So it is within that period of time. It says remove one of the pillars from Congress. For the remainder of the turn, the suffragist player may not add cubes to any state in the Atlantic and Appalachian and South regions. And that's going to be in effect, you can see that symbol right there, for the rest of the turn. So that is annoying. However, I did keep this Union Victory card. It's playable if the Civil War is in effect. We get to roll a d6. On a 3, 4, 5, or 6, we receive 2 buttons, and we can discard the Civil War. Feels like a good thing to do. We could also ignore those 2 regions for now, and we could focus our attention elsewhere. But those are also the 2 remaining regions that have those cards, and once those are gone, those are gone. So I think I will play the Union Victory. And we do need to roll. Oh my goodness, we are rolling really bad. We're gonna get 2 buttons, so come on. Yes. So we can discard Civil War. That nets us 1 button. Oh, here we go. So the 15th divides suffragists. Play if the 15th Amendment is in effect. Remove all purple from 4 states with the most purple, and the suffragist player loses 2 buttons. Oh. That is brutal. Okay, 4 states. That's 1, 2, and the rest are all 2. So let's go 3. And let's go 4. So there we go. That's the downside of playing the 15th Amendment. But here we go. We can play our Utah card. 6 cubes. We can get that one right back. No, you know what? I live in Oregon. We'll get Oregon getting in the right direction there. And now we just have 2 buttons, but I think I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to play Francis Harper. We're going to roll this and add that many cubes. 1 per state. Ooh, 5. Yeah, it's above average, and I would like to hold on to my buttons, so we'll go with it. Okay, we'll do 5 like that. South Dakota rejects suffrage. Okay, so play if at least there's 1 of these in Congress. It's going to remove 1 and add 2 to South Dakota. I wanted to do some campaigning, but I got sort of caught up here with these events. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but I want to stick with it. I don't want this to fall too far behind. And now we can add 1 to each region. We almost have Virginia on our side. Okay, 2 cubes in New York and Connecticut. Okay, we're really losing the Northeast there, aren't we? But I have a card for that. Frederick Douglass. It's another one where we get to roll. Oh, 1. Okay. Well, we'll button that one up. 8. There we go. I'm gonna put purple in there because we have our yellow campaigner there. That turned the tide quite nicely, but we only have 1 button. That's not good. But we're halfway done here, so we're making some progress. Okay, never mind. Senator George Vest. Remove 1 and add 2 to Missouri. And there we go. That's the end of turn 2. Move that over. Nothing to reset there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For the strategy phase, I think I'll just put in my 1 button and maybe we can get lucky and keep them from getting a card. Oh no, they rolled a 3, so we lose the button. And they're going to get a random one of these cards, so we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4. They're going to get the Bellwether State. And you can see down there it says the Applebot will add 4 opposition cubes to 2 states determined at random. When we're determining a random state for the Applebot, we just roll a d6 and a d8. So the 3 means the South, and the 7 looks like South Carolina. And we'll roll again. Oh, and that's actually add 4 to 2 states. Wow. I misread that. So now we're going to the west and hitting Idaho. And then you always replace the card. Okay, and now we would just start turn 3. I think I'm going to start off by playing the club movement and just receiving 4 buttons. And then, because it's turn 3 and the first round, they're actually going to play this card that we have face up over here. It says to play on turn 3, round 1, and they get to add another campaigner to the Northeast region. Now, when they take a campaign action, we'll do the same thing, but we'll do it for both campaigners. Now, at this point, I think I'm going to continue to play, and I'll come back a little bit later in the game to show you a couple of unique things that happen towards the end. All right, more editing magic, and here we are in the last turn of the game, about halfway through, and you can see the state of the board. It's looking pretty good. We have a lot of support out there. A few little pockets of opposition. South Carolina is simply not having it, but that's fine. The main problem here is we have not even passed the 19th Amendment from Congress yet. We're cutting it very close. If we don't get this done by the end of the turn, we automatically lose. But not to worry, because I got the card that we need. I've got the 1918 midterm elections. This is going to let us add the 3 columns that we need to complete this. So all we have to do is roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6. And I have plenty of buttons here for rerolls, so this should not be a problem. And we did it straight away. Boom. So now that we have completed this, we instantly remove all of these. This part of the game is completely done, and now we're going to look out here on the board. And any state that has 4 or more cubes in it is going to get either a ratification check mark or a rejection X. The rejection X's are going to be simple. It's just going to be South Carolina. That is it. All the cubes go away. And now we can start taking care of all these check marks. So here we go, Texas. I'll organize those colors later. Check mark there. Check mark here. California. My home state. Washington. Okay, I think you get the idea. Let's do a little bit more movie magic. So there we have it. That's what the map looks like right now. It looks like, let's count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 states have already decided to ratify. We need 36, so we're not quite there yet, but at least only one has rejected. So we're doing okay. Opobot. Okay, wow, good thing we did that when we did. We have the red scare. We're going to remove purple cubes from 2 states that have the most, and it looks like every state here has 1 purple cube. Let's remove that one and that one. That was not too bad. Okay, now I have this really cool strategy card that I haven't played yet. I got this from doing the Southern Strategy. This is going to let us look through our draw deck, or what remains of it, and pick out a card to play. I was saving this in case we needed to pull out a card in order to complete the Congress there. Like, for instance, this card here, which would let us add 2. But since we don't need to do that, I think our best bet is doing this card right here. And we'll get to play its event right away for free, and then we'll just shuffle up our deck. So we're going to roll 2d8, and we can add that number of cubes anywhere, no more than 2 per state. Okay, 8. That's right on average, but I'm going to take it. I want to hold on to my buttons if I can. So let's just go ahead and knock some of these off here. So we'll add 2 here. That'll make it immediately ratify. Let's just go 2 here. So that'll be 4. 6. 8, just like that. Cool. Now that was just our strategy card play. We now have to play a card from our hand. And I think what I want to do is play this right now. Make a home run for suffrage. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to roll 2d8, and we're going to get to remove opposition cubes up to that number. And there aren't that many out there. Ooh, look at that. 10. Okay, no more than 2 per state. So 2. Okay, looks like we could just get 9 out of that. So that is perfect. That should hopefully keep a bunch of X's from appearing. Okay, we're adding 2 to any state, and 3 of them. So we're just going to roll for a random state. So here in the plains, there actually is nothing available, so we got to re-roll. Okay, south. 3, 6. 2 there. 4, 7. Okay, takes 2 away from me. 1, 7. That is already done, so we have to re-roll. Nope, 1 is done. 8, 7, 6. There we go. Okay, we have 2 more cards. Let's play this. Once again, we're doing this roll. We'll get to add cubes. Ooh, that's bad. Let's re-roll that. Okay, 10. That's more like it. That's 2. That's 4. 6. 8. And 10. Okay, so there aren't any columns here in the Senate. That's already passed, so they're going to do a campaign. We have 2 of them now, so they're going to move Now he's going to move out of 2 because there's nothing he can do there. Okay, I'm going to keep rolling 2s. 1. All right. 6. So let's do the guy in the west. He's going to put 2 in number 1. Of course, that is not going to work. 7's not going to work. 2's not going to work. 3's not going to work. Eventually, we'll come up with a number. 5. There we go. Okay, and then the one in the northeast. Gonna put 2. Nope. 5. Avoided X's there, so that's good. I'm gonna play voter registration. Now, this is going to be something that is going to affect our final voting, which you're going to see here in just a second. So I'll explain it then. But first, the Oppobot gets its last play. United Daughters of the Confederacy. Play if Southern Strategy is in effect, which it is. Add 2 in 4 states in the South region. Oh, that's unfortunate. So we'll have to roll for this. 2. 6, and that becomes an X. Three, and can't be 1. Can't be 6. 8. And there we go. We are done with the game. That's the end of round 6, and neither side has won yet. We haven't gotten 36 states to ratify. They haven't gotten 13 states to reject, so we have to go into final voting. For final voting, we're going to go through each state, and we're going to roll to see how they vote. Now, because of this voter suppression card, the Oppobot is going to roll their gray D8. But because of our voter registration, we're going to get to roll our D8. Normally, you would roll a D6. And because of this card that we played earlier in the game, we're going to get to break ties. Normally, the Oppobot would get to break the tie. The trick here is that any cubes that you have in the region get added to whatever you roll. And you can spin buttons to re-roll your dice during this phase. Now we get to go back and forth picking which region we want to activate, because it's going to be whoever accomplishes their goal first. And we get to start. So we have 2 cubes here in North Carolina, so let's go there. We're getting a +2 to our roll, and we're breaking ties. Boom. We didn't even need the +2. We win. Now the Oppobot is going to pick whichever region they have the most cubes in. They're going to start there. So we'll just go right here. They have 3 cubes. Oh, look at that. 1 + 3 is 4. We still beat them. Incredibly lucky roll there. Let's see about West Virginia. We're at +2. +2, we're good. We're rolling well. Let's go all the way up there into Massachusetts. Oh, okay. They're +3, so they take it. We're running out of cubes, but let's stick up there into Maine. We're at +1. Ooh, yes, there we go. And now they have a bunch of 2s, so we'll just go down here into Florida. Oh, and we did it. Wow, we're rolling well. That's insane. All right, let's just do Tennessee. We're at +1. Oh, and that doesn't work. Let's stick here in the South. Louisiana. Ooh, yeah, they killed us. Okay, our luck's turning. This is our last cube. Oh, no, we got some cubes up there in the Northeast I didn't see. But, yeah, we'll stick here with Kentucky. Oh, we got murdered. All right, let's do Utah. Okay. +2, 5 and 5, we break the tie. Amazing. That card came in handy. And here we are. Let's start the countdown here. We are 4 away from victory. That's all we need. All right. Well, let's just go to New Hampshire. Oh, our +1, and we break the tie. Bam! Look at that. That tie break is saving us. All right, they're going to come here to Nevada. And they got us. Okay, but we're still in the lead here. We're doing good. Okay, Connecticut. This is our last cube. Oh, and we beat them. 8 and 8. That's amazing. All right, 2 away, and now it doesn't really matter. There's no more cubes out, so it's just going to be straight up. So let's just start out west and head in. Check out Idaho. Got him. And all we need is one more. Let's do Maryland. I used to live there. Oh, and the tiebreaker comes in again. Boom. And there you have it. We have successfully passed the 19th Amendment, and we've won the game. So there you go, everyone. That was my solo play of Votes for Women. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.